Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Okoyemi Goddess, and if you're new to this channel, you're welcome. Here I talk about nursing, lifestyle, love and relationships, and basically everything fun. Do well to subscribe to my channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back to my channel. I really love you guys, and I celebrate you for always watching my videos. So I did a part one of this video like few days ago. You must have watched it by now, and the reason why I'm here for the part two of the video. So it's all about the culture shocks that I experienced when I moved to the UK a year ago. So in my previous video, if you've not seen the video, I'll put the link up here so you can actually click on the link and then watch the video when you're done with this, or you go and watch that first and then you come back to this part two. So I spoke about like 6 or 7 culture shocks that I experienced in the UK, and then I'm just going to continue from there. So another culture shock that I actually experienced when I moved to the UK is the weather. Guys, the weather is so crazy. The climate is just so different from back home. So when I came, I realized that you really cannot be too sure of how the weather would be like the following day. So what I used to do, and I still do anyways, is the fact that a day before I would actually check the weather forecast so I can actually dress appropriately the following day to work. So it happened to me that when I came newly, because I felt, oh, this is spring or this is summer and all that, I could actually wear something very light. And then I'm halfway through my journey to work, and then I realized that I'm so cold. So I used to just take my time. A night before, I would check the weather forecast, check the temperature of the following day, and then I can dress appropriately. Because the way the weather swings, I mean, it can be 7 degrees now, and then in the next 2 hours, it's 2 degrees. So probably when you were leaving home, you were wearing something very light. On your way back from work, you'll be so shocked that it's already very cold and you might just be stranded because you might be too cold. And so I had to learn that the hard way. The weather is so unpredictable. You can never predict when it would rain. It can be very sunny now, and then the next minute it's raining. The next minute it's cloudy and all that. So yeah, the weather is so unpredictable. So it's best to just check the weather forecast the day before so you can dress appropriately for the day. You might not have to maybe wear cardigans and all that, but at least you can put them in your bag if you know that it's to get colder, later in the day and all that. So the weather is so unpredictable. It's always raining in the UK. You really don't know when it will rain. Unlike back home that we had the rainy season, we had the dry season, so you know how to dress appropriately for each season. Here when I came, I was totally shocked. It was just different. So it's more like every day has its own trouble. Like you don't know what you should expect. So that's why I take my time to just check the weather forecast a day before, so I know how to dress appropriately for the following day. So that's that about the weather. Okay, the next culture shock. I wouldn't call this a shock for me because of my personality. So I know for other people it might be a shock, but I'll still mention this, and it's the fact that people are very, very keen on privacy here. Privacy is like very, very serious here. People mind their business. So for me, I wasn't really shocked in that regard because even back home, I like to mind my business. I've always been a very private person. I'm not the kind of person that would sit down with my neighbors and start gossiping or start gisting or start chatting. Even back home, all I do is just to say hello to my neighbors. If I see them, while going, into my house, the best I would do is, hello, how was your day? Hope you're fine. How are the kids? That's all I do. I don't, do chit chat with people. So for me, it wasn't really a shock, but I would just like to mention this. People are very keen on privacy. The way you would stretch your head from your own flat and then you start calling your neighbor, how do I say, Mrs. Lagbaja, blah blah blah, and then you start gisting, start talking about politics, how you talk about the Nigerian government, you just talk about things generally. You talk about the economy, you talk about how pepper has diminished, the price of pepper has diminished or has increased, as the case may be. Generally the way we talk in Nigeria, especially with our neighbors or people in our neighborhood, it's very different here. You don't know what your neighbor even does for a living. You don't know who your neighbor is. You guys will just see maybe when you bust out of your own building, and that's it. You just smile at each other or just say morning. That's all you say. There's really no avenue to chit chat with your neighbors. And I really love that because I've always been a private person. So that wasn't really an issue for me when I came here. But for some people, because I know people say this a lot, that you get to mind your business. But I think it's just good. People should just learn to mind their business. Really. You don't have to poke nose into other people's, business. Mind your business. So privacy is very key here. Nobody knows what you do for a living. They don't know when you come back from work. Nobody's monitoring you. Nobody's gossiping about you. People are just on their own, in their own lane. And that's another culture shock that I know a lot of people experience. I did not experience that because of who I am. I'm an introvert. I don't even like talking to people anyway. So I feel like this system, this environment or this country is meant for me. I don't like talking to people. I like to just be on my own and mind my business. So that's that. Okay, so guys, another culture shock. This is very, 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 very key for me. Another culture shock that I experienced when I moved to the UK is the fact that the environment is productivity friendly. Yes, I think that's the best way I can put it. The environment is productivity friendly. Okay, so let me give you an instance. I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel for, for the longest time. It was my dream for the longest time to have a YouTube channel. But then back home, there was no constant electricity. So you can even be in the middle of filming a video and then NEPA would take light. The power holding company of Nigeria would just, they would just take light or electricity. So you'll be stranded. The noise of generators around you in your neighborhood won't even let you film a video properly. There'll be so much noise that you can't even hear yourself. So I had a lot of limiting factors back home as regards starting a YouTube channel. The environment wasn't even conducive. There was so much heat. I was always sweating and sweating and sweating. So it was a major thing for me back home, and I'm just using YouTube as an example for a lot of other things, even for companies back home, because of the lack of electricity supply. It actually affects businesses back home. I know that for sure. So that's why I actually use the word productivity friendly. This environment is very productivity friendly in the sense that you have constant electricity, you have constant water supply. Of course, you pay for all those things. You pay, these things are not free. You pay for all those things, but I'm just saying they are readily available. Back home, you still indirectly pay for these things and they're not readily available. So you pay for these things and then you still generate these things by yourself. So it's like paying twice for all the services. But here, there's constant electricity. My phone, since I came, I've never had a low battery, like saying my phone is dead and then people cannot reach me on my phone because my phone is dead. It has never happened. The way back home that once electricity gets restored, you kind of rush to charge your phone. I've never had that occurrence here. So I'm more productive here. I can actually film a video at any time. I can film a video in the middle of the night. I can film a video in the day. At any time I choose to, I can film a video. So it's like productivity friendly, especially for people who work on their computers. You can actually charge your computers any time of the day and then you can actually work on your computer. There's light, there's water. So the environment is very, very productivity friendly in the sense that you really don't have any excuse not to excel. You don't have any excuse not to succeed. You have everything you need readily available to enhance your productivity. So that's another culture shock that I experienced when I came here. I just didn't understand why. Like, I was feeling so comfortable to achieve my dreams. I could do the things that I never had the opportunities to do back home. So yes, that's another thing that I experienced when I came. Another culture shock that I experienced when I came is the fact that they have fewer public holidays here. Back home in Nigeria, we have public holidays for everything. You have public holiday for, in fact, I don't know, for ridiculous things. I'm sorry I'm saying this, but really, we have so many public holidays in Nigeria. So when I came here, I actually realized that no, they don't have as much as we do back home. So that's another culture shock. Public holidays here are not as much as we have back home. Another culture shock, guys, another culture shock that I experienced there is the fact that the healthcare system is very fantastic. Guys, I'm a nurse and I know it might look like I shouldn't be saying this because, oh, you're a nurse, you really don't know how it feels, but I know how it feels. Even back home as a nurse, I don't have access to, very great healthcare system. That's the truth. Yeah, it's a different ballgame entirely. Apart from the fact that healthcare is like free, of course, you pay for a few things, maybe like dental care, you have to pay for that, and then you pay for your drugs if you're getting the drugs on an outpatient basis. But if you're like on admission in the hospital, everything is free, your drugs, your admission and all that. And then even for consultation, like outside the hospital, like outpatient consultation, more like we call it GPA, even that is like free, like absolutely free. So guys, I would share an experience with you guys. So I think probably like 6 months ago, I really cannot remember, but I think it was like 6 months ago, I started getting mails in my unit at work from my GP. So GP here is like, how do I explain GP? So it's more like the way we have health centers back home or clinics, but these are like furnished or well equipped clinics. So it's like clinics, but it's not like the health centers we have back home. So we call them GPs here. So we have GPs there. You just pick the one nearest to where you live or the one that you really love based on reviews and all that. Anyway, so whenever you have any medical issues, you just ring your GP and then book an appointment. But if it's like an emergency, you can call 999 and then they will come pick, an ambulance will come home and pick you and then take you to the A&E of a hospital. But I'm just saying, for minor things, you just call your GP. Anyways, I kept getting mails from my GP, like letters from my GP. I got like 3 or 4 mails from my GP. I mean, it was sent to my unit at work, and I kept ignoring. So when I got like the 4th one, I had to open and see, and then I saw that I'd been booked for a pap smear test. So pap smear is like a test we do to check for your chances of having cervical cancer in the nearest future. So it just kind of check your cervix. It checks the HPV, which is like the virus that predisposes you to having cervical cancer in future. And then it's actually recommended for women of childbearing age. I shouldn't be saying this, I know, but I just want to give you like a background to all this. So anyways, so my GP kept sending letters for me to book my appointment. I had been booked, but they wanted to know if I was okay with the date or if I wanted another date for the appointment. So I checked. I still ignored, and then I started getting letters at home as well. They started sending mails to my house to notify me of that. I still didn't respond, and then they started calling me. So I eventually had to like book a date for my pap smear test, and then I just told myself, like, these people are the ones chasing me to come and have a test to know if I'm predisposed to having cervical cancer in the future, because of course I'm of childbearing age. And yeah, so I was really shocked. Like, they're the ones. I know how much pap smear test costs in Nigeria, and it's even beyond the cost. It's the fact that they are calling me to come and do a free test to protect my health so that I don't die of cervical cancer. I'm like, who does this? Like, who does this? So that's another culture shock. So I had to actually go for the test. Eventually, I had to book an appointment, and then I had to go for the test. And even when the result came, the result was they told me it was going to come in 3 weeks. I got the result in 1 week. It was just so fast, reliable, and all that. So that's another culture shock. I still do not understand how the government, in quotes, but I mean, healthcare workers, the GP, would actually be chasing me to come and to take care of my health. So that's another thing. Like, the healthcare system is so fantastic. It's so funny how Brits don't even appreciate this. Like, a lot of Brits will tell you the NHS is shitty, the NHS is this, the NHS is that. I'm always like, if you guys know where we are from, you know that what you guys have is a miracle. The NHS is a miracle. If you know what we have back home, then you understand that the NHS is a miracle. So that's that about the healthcare system. It's actually like very, very fantastic. Guys, another culture shock that I experienced when I came here is the fact that people openly talk about their sexuality. Back home, I mean, you have to, like, let's not even talk about, stuff like LGBTQT and all that. Even your normal sexuality, people don't even like to talk about. Okay, let me just put it this way: people don't like to talk about sex back home. I mean, even married people just don't want to talk about. Everybody is just trying to form oli. Like, it's just so annoying. Yeah, people openly talk about sex, and then people actually openly talk about their sexuality. And then if you're like people who like to judge, you will find it very difficult to adapt here. You don't judge people. Like, people are just, there's no secret about all these things. People just talk about it. People talk about intercourse. I mean, people talk about cohabitation even before marriage. All these things are like open discussions. So that's another thing. I also realized that when you ask people here about their relationships, it's better to ask them about their partner. So you know, like back home, that you say, oh, how is your husband, how is your wife, for you to be safe. This is something I had to learn the hard way, because you can actually ask someone, how is your wife, and the person says, oh, I have a husband, and the person is a guy. So I had to learn that. So you would rather say, how is your partner? So partner can be anything. Partner can even be a dog, it can be a cat, it can be anything, the person's partner. So you're safe, and you're not stepping on the person's, lane. You're not trying to, make the person feel bad. So I also realized that it's just safer to say, how is your partner? And then they would actually reply you and say, oh, my wife is okay, my husband is okay, regardless of the situation. So that's another culture shock that I actually experienced when I came here. Okay, so the last culture shock, guys, I think that's the last for now. If I remember any other one, I'll probably just put them in the description. So the last culture shock, I don't know if this is a shock, I think it is a shock, is the fact that British accent is actually crazy. Okay, so let me put it this way. I think because I used to watch a lot of American movies, I actually just thought that, oh, British people, like Brits, talk like Americans. It is absolutely not true. The way Americans talk and the way Brits talk is just totally like different. It's like two extreme things. Like they're like on two different extremities. So that's one thing I came to realize, when I came newly. Of course, now I've adjusted. I mean, when I resumed work at first, I didn't even I couldn't even comprehend what they were saying. I was literally just staring. And then I started talking to myself like, wait, I was taught in English all through my days in school, from primary, in fact, from kindergarten to primary to secondary to university. Like, we were taught in English back home. As a matter of fact, English is like the lingua franca in Nigeria. So it's not like we don't understand English in Nigeria. Like, we speak good English, we understand English in Nigeria. I mean, but coming here and then listening to Brits, I started to ask myself, are you sure you actually know how to speak English? I had to ask myself if what I was speaking was English or Arabic or something, because it wasn't even sounding near what they were speaking. So the British accent is actually very, very totally different. So if you're planning to move to the UK, you have to realize that you don't talk like them. Don't think you talk like them. You don't talk like them. You speak English, yes, I know. As a matter of fact, you speak good English, because Nigerians speak very good English, but it's just so different. The accent is very, very different. So I had to actually understand that. But over time, when I started, conversing with them, having conversations with them, going to work every day, talking to people at work, and then I later kind of understood how they talk. And then I also realized that you have to talk like them for them to understand you. So just like I'm talking normally, like the Nigerian version of my English, at work, I really can't talk like this because they would not understand you. And then you'll be frustrated. They would also be frustrated because they can't understand you. So over time, you would learn to adjust and speak like them, just for the conversation to be smooth and splendid, and for you to have a nice day at work. So guys, I think I've mentioned a few of, the culture shocks that I actually experienced when I moved to the UK 1 year ago. I've also learned a lot of new things. Oh guys, now I remember one other thing that I forgot to mention. It's the fact that they drink coffee like water. Guys, I don't understand. An average Brit drinks coffee like 1,000 times in a day. I don't understand. Like, there are times that, in fact, days that I don't go to work, I feel a lot better, because when I go to work, I drink coffee like 1 million times. I know I'm exaggerating, but that's how much they drink coffee or tea, as the case may be. I mean, at every interval, they just go to grab a cup of coffee because it's readily available anyways, but they drink coffee like tea. I don't understand how they do it, but unfortunately I've also adjusted to this. I drink coffee like okay, so let me be truthful. Let me just try and remember. I know that on the average at work, I take a cup of coffee like at least 5 times. Okay, so let's say 3 times for coffee and twice for tea. That's how much I take coffee and tea in a day. You know, when I go to work. But when I'm at home, I try to reduce it to like once or twice. But on a working day, I take nothing less than 5 cups of coffee in a day. So coffee is like water to an average breed. So that's another thing I've come to realize. And the fact that tea is different from coffee and it's different from chocolate. Back home, tea is tea. Even if it's Nescafe, even if it is Lipton, even if it is Milo or Bonvita, we just call tea back home. No, here is different. There's coffee, there's tea, there's chocolate, and then even coffee has different types. I mean, you just have to learn. I later learned. I remember the very first day someone asked me, "So, what kind of coffee do you want?" In my mind, I'm like, "The only coffee I drink back home is Nescafe." So then the person said, "Oh, we have different kinds of coffee." So I said, "Okay, what different kinds of coffee do you have?" And then the person went on and on, started naming it. Do you want latte? Do you want cappuccino? Do you want Americano or something? They gave me like the list. Anyways, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what they were. All I said was, I want latte. Oh my goodness, they gave me latte and it was bitter. And then I later realized that I could actually ask for more sugar. You can ask for more milk or cream, you know. So guys, there are so many things that I had to learn, even about coffee and tea alone. It's like a project on its own. You have to learn the fact that there are several varieties of coffee, there are several types of tea and all that. So that's another culture shock that I experienced when I came to the UK. Guys, I think I've exhausted my list. If you have other culture shocks that you experienced when you moved abroad, when you moved, to the Western world or to a developed country, please drop them in the comment section. I would really, really love to read from you guys. And if you think that I omitted any culture shock, just drop them in the comment section. Let's have some fun. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And if you've not watched the part 1 of this video, I'll put the link here again. Please endeavor to watch, and then I'm sure you would have a good laugh if you watch the video. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so you'd always be notified whenever I put up videos on my channel. I'm not sure you've liked this video. Please like this video. It will help the algorithm to favor me. So please like this video, share with your loved ones, guys. And if you're yet subscribed to my channel, you should subscribe by now. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. See you guys. Bye.